Good evening. It's 6:00 p.m. on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. We're here at Freedom Hall for a meeting of the Prudential Committee of the Katuitt Fire District. The first thing we'll do is all who are able, please rise and we'll pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on the agenda is roll call. This is Mark Lynch. Seth Burdick, present.
John Havel, present.
Sean Eager.
Ron Roulette, present. And Ray Perone, our treasurer, is participating by Zoom.
Yes, I'm here.
Great, thanks, Ray. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Public comment from the audience or?
I think I'm supposed to state my name.
Yes.
From Raylan Ave, Midland Road. I'm just here to listen. I wanted to get updated on the school, but just so people think I'm not doing anything special, I'm just sitting here listening.
All right, well, thank you. Welcome for coming. Thank you for coming out on cold night. The next item is the meeting minutes agenda, and I believe we have two. One is the December 8th, 2025 Prudential Committee Tax Classification Meeting Minutes. I move that we approve those minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next meeting minutes to be approved are the December 8th, 2025 Prudential Committee meeting. I move that those meeting minutes be approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those minutes are approved. Next on our agenda is the Katuitt School Building demolition status update. And with us by Zoom are three members of our project manager team of left field, and that would be Joe Sullivan, Kevin Sullivan, and Kayla Gallo. Welcome all. The purpose, as I stated, is to give us an update. I understand there's a new draft timeline as well, but we will let you tell us what's new and we'll go from there.
Thanks, Mark. What I'd like to do is I'm going to allow Kayla to share a screen, and then she can go over and articulate the details associated with that. And then if you have any questions related to that, we'll take those and then give you any insight and a heads up on some of the things that we have going on. Kayla?
I just requested to share unless you have the one that I sent you, Mark.
It should be approved coming back at you, Caleb.
Okay. Oh, wait, I see it. Okay, let me know when you can see it, this.
We've got it.
Okay, so currently we are in the construction document phase. We will be done with 50% CDs by the week of February 19th, which is a Friday. So we're proposing that we have a meeting with all of you guys so that we can go over drawings and kind of plan. We can get back comments, and then we'd like to have a meeting the following week, the week of the 23rd, just to review those comments, and then that will bring us into that next week, which will finish 100% CDs. They'll be done on February 27th, which is when we'll go out to bid, and then we need about 2 weeks, and then that brings us to the week of March 9th, where we'll be able to contract a contractor and start the construction phase.
Okay.
Is there any question? Retail.
Yeah, just a couple of clarifications. For those listening, 50% CD, CD refers to construction drawings, 50%, 50% CD, as I understand it, is the term of art, is, as it suggests, a not preliminary, but still draft document. And so we're talking about construction documents relating to the demolition, as well as the draft of the landscape architecture drawings as well, that we will discuss and also present, and look for feedback from the village. There will be a fairly tight timeline here. I'm just looking. So the hazmat assessment has been completed, correct?
That's correct.
Correct.
As well as the topographic survey.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we're now in the phase where the construction documents are being drafted. When you say bid phase, can you give us an idea of what that means? Is that when it is out for bid or when the bid is being drafted? What exactly does that mean?
So they overlap each other. So while the construction documents are still being completed, we're going to need about 2 weeks to do pre-qualification. So during that time, we'll send out basically like an advertisement and have all the contractors pre-qualify, send in their qualifications. We'll be able to review them. Um, and then right when that's done, that brings us to the point of the construction documents being completed. As soon as they're completed, we're going to go out to bid. So that's why this is 6 weeks. It's about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks for pre-qual, and then 2.5 weeks for bidding. And then during the 2.5 weeks for bidding, the contractors will be able to come on site. We'll have a pre-bid walkthrough. They'll be able to put together their bids, and then they'll be due on the 13th, I believe. Yeah, the 13th of March.
8th of March. And you told me today you're aiming for March 3rd, 2026 for the walkthrough by possible bidders who have been qualified.
Qualified, correct.
What does that mean? I think I know what it means, but what does that mean to determine if they're qualified bidders?
So Massachusetts state law has like a criteria that we have to follow. Essentially, you give them points based off of their experience, based on the type of work that they're doing, um, based on like their financials, their experience, all that stuff, just to make sure that you guys are getting a bidder that is actually able to do this work and has done this work in the past. So we'll score them, and we'll be able to meet before this to kind of go over it, but we'll score them based off of um, that criteria. And then once they get qualified, they'll be able to send in their bids.
So Mark,
They qualify.
if I could just add a little bit. So basically, it's going to be a shorter version of standard pre-qualifications. The biggest thing that we want to really be careful of is just to make sure that none of the contractors have, overcommitted themselves on other projects where they're not allowed to get all of the work done that we need to in that time frame. So our pre-qualification will be like a shorter version of that. We're just going to make sure that their financial capacity, their overall project limits aren't exceeding their qualifications based off of the state statute. So once we have that, there's only going to be, my gut feeling is, 6 contractors that'll really go aggressively after this. Maybe a few more than that, but because of being a demo project in the abatement, it really narrows down the pool to a specific group that's going to be doing this. In addition to that, most of them will be subbing out the landscaping aspect of it once the project is down and complete.
Okay, and by pre-qualification, this I assume is just a thumbs up, thumbs down kind of, they're not ranked or anything, they're just either they're qualified or they're not.
Correct. Well, as Kayla indicated, there'll be a minor scoring matrix to meet, in the state, anything over $10 million, we're required to do it. We're doing this because we just want to make sure you guys get a great contractor. And the scoring matrix is 70 or above. I mean, to me, that's a C minus, but we should get a lot of these contractors that score a lot higher than that.
Okay. And the bid documents due, looks to be about a week-long period. What does bid documents do? Do from whom or to whom?
So Icon will have all their drawings and the bid document, their specs and drawings due to us by the 27th so that we can post them so that we're ready in time for bidding. So it's not anything that's in you guys' hands. It's from Icon.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
And Mark, the big thing about us meeting with you a couple of weeks in a row is we want to get your feet. So the 50% documents, it's a robust set of documents that are going to have a little bit more detail as well as some specifications. If there's certain tweaks or things that you'd like to see a little differently on those plans and specs, we want to make sure they get incorporated before it goes out to actual bid. Our advertisement, our bidding portion of it, we're going to be advertising it in advance of having the drawings and specs 100% complete. Once they're complete, they go out on the street. We do have time to issue an addendum prior to receiving the bid. If there's any questions that might come in from the general contractors or their file subcontractors or subcontractors to them that we can answer in a timely fashion to make sure that it gets included as part of the bid.
Okay. And just if we can, for our planning purposes, when are the 50% CDs going to be coming in? I'm just trying to figure out when we need to schedule meetings for.
So they're coming in
The 13th, I believe.
13th. Yeah, I believe it's the 13th. And then we're proposing we'll review them, we'll get them in front of you, and then we're proposing to have a meeting on the 19th.
And by proposing to have a meeting, you mean a Prudential committee meeting?
Correct.
And then we would present, would it be at that time that we had a presentation to the villagers, or would it be a subsequent meeting?
It would be then.
Okay. And then you wanted another meeting shortly after that?
Yeah, so we want to be able to have everyone digest the information that we present and be able to think about it and come back with any questions or comments. So we were thinking that early that following week, so the 23rd or the 23rd or the 24th.
Okay.
So Mark, what that does is it allows you to give us some feedback on the 19th and then make sure that your feedback is implemented and incorporated in the drawings and specs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're going to send us the 50% CD on February 13th. We can post that. People can review it. There will be commentary on February 19th. And then in a subsequent meeting around February 23rd or 24th, we would expect to finalize the construction documents, i.e. demolition documents and landscaping documents, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I see that we've moved up our ending phase by a few weeks. That is good news in the sense that we will have our planting done more in the
Growing
spring,
season.
summer. Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to hit the growing season of April 15th through June 15th. Our goal is if the school gets, down and we're able to bring the soil and it's a safe area for the landscapers to come in, we'll get them, they can simultaneously start the plantings while they're finishing hauling out.
Okay. And as I understand it, when the bids come in, we are obliged to accept the lowest bid under Massachusetts law. And
Most qualified lowest bid. Yep.
most qualified lowest bid. And and you will assist us in the most qualified aspect of that. Lowest is pretty easy.
Yeah,
And then we would enter into a contract with the winning bidder shortly thereafter.
yeah, executing that contract is going to be essential.
Okay.
Yeah, so we also would like to review with you any terms and conditions and kind of go over what we think we want the contract to look like probably in the next 2 weeks, just so that we have it prepared and ready for when we go out to bid and it's part of the bid package.
So Mark, with the fire station that you went out to recently, you should have a front end with a contract that, the district should have, that Kayla can go through to, critique it for our project.
Okay. We will locate such an animal and get it to you and to our attorney, Mark Boudreau, at the same time. I get your point that we don't want to get a draft from someone and then start looking at it. At that point, we want to be ready with what we think the contract should look like. Is that a
Yes.
fair?
Yeah, especially if
Yeah.
town council has gone over it recently. It should be just a minor tweaks to get it ready.
Okay.
Just send me that. I can work with Mark, I believe his name is, directly if you need me to.
Yeah. As I said, Kayla, I sent him an email this morning on relating to the Icon contract amendment. I will press him on that, and it probably makes sense to introduce you to in a call. I will arrange for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else we should know about?
No, I can tell you, I spoke to the abatement engine, our abatement consultant, and they are currently working with Icon on the specifications related to the abatement that's going to have to occur. He'll actually give us what he thinks some timeline and schedule will be related to that, and by the 19th, we should be able to give you a little bit more information.
Okay. And just so people listening are aware, that the hazmat we're referring to relates to largely to asbestos that we knew was in the building and the process to safely remove and discard of that. There are some other hazardous materials as well, including fluorescent lights, et cetera. But that is the hazmat reference we're making. Mark,
I got one other thing I wanted to bring to you. You were going to put in contact your superintendent or project management team from the fire station that it has some items that were on the site that I just want to make sure that we coordinate our work with their storage items. That's all.
I will put you in touch with the fire department project manager. I know that they had some what appeared to be dumpsters over at the school property, but were in fact receptacles, I guess you'd say, for the contract molding. So I think I'll drive by and see if those are still there. But yeah, that's a good idea. And in particular, you want to talk with them and make sure that March 3rd is open and clear for us.
Yeah, I just don't want them to, their expectations how to bring or stage something there while we're starting to ramp up and affect our overall schedule. That's all.
I could not agree more.
Okay, great.
Anybody on the Prudential Committee have any comments, questions, clarifications needed?
I guess, it's not as it pertains to the schedule and everything. This is more for us, three of us. Have we talked to the Kettleers at all? I haven't. Because and I know the schedule has been proposed this way and right along, but I'm just thinking, we haven't really spoken with them and they use that whole area.
So
I think they use mainly the Barnstable area,
They don't stray onto our side?
not really.
no. And the answer is I have talked to them. want to say the gentleman's first name was Fran
Maycock.
Maycock, and confirm just what John was saying. They don't feel like that they have issues that need to be addressed as long as the town property remains the way it is, which of course it will. So we have spoken to them on.
I was just curious, because it just
So
occurred to me.
Mark, what I'd like to do too is, between Kayla, myself and Kevin, we'd like to set up a public forum shortly, before bids are in hand or shortly after we have the bidder, so that everybody in the neighborhood in the town understand what we're looking to do and the timelines around it.
And when we think we're doing that, just generally speaking.
So normally I like to have a general contractor on board because sometimes they'll attend, but we've had it just before bidding and it gives the public an update of what we're doing. And then we typically will send out a memo to the individuals that attended and the surrounding, abutters, and letting them know who the contractor is and the contact people, and then the schedule related to that. That's all. So I would say if February 27th, the drawings are going to be ready, we would probably have a public forum. We could probably do a piggyback the walkthrough, Kevin, maybe on the 3rd.
That's a great idea.
And would that be by Zoom or in person?
We typically do it in person. I like face to face when we're meeting the abutters. And we'll be in person anyway with some of the potential general contractors and subcontractors.
Okay.
But we can coordinate that. I will need, and Kayla, if you can track it down just to get on a butters list to the school, 500 feet is preferable. And then we can send out notices ahead of time.
Yeah, just confirm with us when you and I will talk about what that exact date will be, but yeah, March 3rd, I think will be fine. By the way, Ryan, can you do me a favor? Go to the Peddlers website and see when their summer camp begins. Because that was one of the issues that we wanted to make sure, if we possibly could, that we're done before the Kettleers camp started. And I want to say it was pretty late.
I think it was the end of July when we had looked.
Yeah, to my surprise.
I don't think it does.
I didn't think so either.
Because the season ends at the beginning of August and the players are all gone.
Let's see.
It usually starts right after school gets out. So like early July. July 18th.
And if we're around at all at that point, it's just final closeout documentation more than anything.
I was thinking for the park aspect more than, they don't park on that front down there?
No, it's,
I never go down
there are a lot of cars, but they start right next to the tennis courts and they usually pack in pretty tight.
Yeah, I'm sure. I was just curious.
All right. We will follow up and get that date as soon as we can. To the extent possible, obviously we'd like to be done before that happens.
For one clarification, I see note on the screen. So the walkthrough for the abutters is separate from than the public discussion on the return to nature, correct? Or is that the same?
So I think what they're saying is that it won't be a walkthrough for the abutters, but it will be a meeting, presumably where everyone can attend, but in particular the abutters, so they can be advised as to what's going to happen when.
The activities. Yeah.
Okay, which is a separate meeting than a discussion about the landscaping.
You got it.
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah. The discussions about the landscaping as proposed would be hopefully a posting of the 50% plan February 13th, a meeting February 19th, and a meeting February 23rd or 24, at which point we really need to have finalized. the details. Because as I hear you guys, you're gonna hope to go out for the bidding process at the end of February.
Yep, and we do have, a week to tweak any of the landscaping if there are any significant changes, just so that they can capture it within their bid. That's all.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I just want to make sure everybody was aware of the dates, and Kayla has been working diligently to just make sure that we can refine the schedule and meet our requirements on the planting aspects of it.
That's terrific. Okay, if there's nothing else, we will move on to the treasurer's report.
You take public comment on that?
We'll take public comment at the end of the meeting. We usually do it before and after the meeting. But just in case people didn't hear, an audience member asked if there was public comment, and the answer is yes, before and after the meeting.
So Mark, we would like to hang on in case there's any questions directed to us about that.
Okay, you know what, should we make an exception here? I hate to let you guys hang out, so special offer. Come on forward, and please, if you can, here.
I'll identify myself again. My name is James Redden. I live on Raylan Ave. I'm a resident. And by trade, I'm an engineer. I've done a lot of these projects similar, not similar. So what I recognize is the important part right now is to get the demolition done by spring. And I think that's important to the community. But I think the issue of having to finalize the landscape plan in like a 3 or 4 day period between the 13th and 19th doesn't necessarily sound reasonable. 50% drawings are very complicated. They're not something you normally look at in a couple of days. And then you're going to turn 50% into 100% within 2 weeks. It's very fast turnaround. So my potential suggestion would be you isolate the landscape portion of the bid. So the contractor's going to bid on it, but you make a note that we're going to have public comment in an orderly fashion on the landscape portion. And then have that such that the contractor knows that's part of the bid and can carry it in his bid. And the town could then, or the village could then have more content, more input on what's really happening here. Because I seem to have I've only been here 10 years, but I see the back entrance of that school being very important to every Kettlers game because people come and go from a safety issue. Half the people come in from the back, they don't come in from the front. Likewise, you have the 4th of July parade parks in that whole area. So I feel like we see nothing about how much parking is going to be back there, how much access is going to be through the return to nature. I agree with that concept, but I think it's important part of the community to make sure people know what access is going to be and how this whole thing is going to turn out. But I don't want to hold up the process of, taking away the building, getting rid of asbestos. I understand all that kind of stuff. So that was sort of my comment.
Can I comment, Mark? He's brought up some good points, and I could probably address a few of them maybe to clarify it a little bit. So our goal, and we understand how important the landscape and the architectural features of how the property is going to be completed at the end is important to not only, the district, but to the town. Our goal is to have a landscape plan, which, that they articulated early on some of the criteria, what they were looking for. We were going to identify plants and locations of where those plants were going with the hopes of we're going to have a robust set of landscape drawings, and it's going to allow the committee to look at the species and the locality of where that's going. It's actually going to be almost 3 weeks before it goes, the general contractor actually gets it. It'll be 2 weeks of, going, having some public input on it. And then if we need to have an addendum just prior to the bids coming in, that gives us 3 weeks to actually isolate and iron that out. Now, what I would suggest is that we need a basis of design to allow them to at least, get numbers together. We can refine, the plantings and the localities of some of that work as we get closer to bid day. And I think that, if there's minor tweaks that need to happen to that, I think we can accommodate it in a 3 week period. Now, if it seems like there's a whole different dynamics of, the input as to what that's required or needed to happen, Mark, we can look at that differently and maybe, utilize it as a alternate or a unit cost, to hold a value, and then we can tweak it at that point. But it's up to the committee's, appetite at how they want to go about it.
Can I comment, does the committee know what percentage is gonna remain covered and uncovered, permeable versus non-permeable? Have you already told those people that?
The return to nature will include no permeable, impermeable, with the possible exception, no, there will be no impermeable.
Right.
And then and parking and like,
There will be no parking.
I saw in one of the other meetings, they showed a parking lot in it on the preliminary drawing.
Yes, that was a preliminary drawing.
So you're saying, so there's gonna be no access to the back of the field where the people park with kennels?
There will be no
Isn't that
parking.
a safety?
There will be no additional parking.
What, and you cannot exit to the street anymore on the back side?
That is not yet determined.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that those are major issues in the community, I think. And
Uh,
just have 3 days to decide that?
it's not 3 days. It'll be February 13th till the end of
19th.
February.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be accurate. I'm just saying, I'm surprised at how short a time period it is.
Okay. Any further commentary from anyone online?
Patty Daly.
Okay.
Can I sit?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Like.
Thank you. I completely agree with a prior speaker. This is a big issue for the village, and 10 days is what I've got written down is not sufficient to make a decision. I have no problem taking the building down, but we need a more robust public process. I think the Civic Association is willing to step in and help support that process. And I would suggest that the Prudential Committee consider ways to make that happen. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else for public comment on this Katuitt School building issue?
Mark, it's Ray. This isn't, it's just something I forgot when the speakers were through. Can we get a copy of that schedule?
Yes, I will send the schedule to everyone here.
Thank you.
I'd appreciate a copy as well. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report.
Hang on. As usual, a call comes in just when I'm going to go through this. I sent an email out just before the meeting. The headline of this report is really the shortfall in revenue, which puts pressure on the cash position going forward. It's not an emergency. It's just something that we're going to have to watch carefully. The tax collections have fallen behind by approximately $365,000. The water revenue, and this is taking out all the grants that will be removed at the end of this month. So, excuse me, tax revenue is down $965. Water revenue is also down. Ambulance is the good news. It's 75 over. And then the other category is also up a net 8,000. So overall, we're down, and we're down about $600,000 in all regards on revenue. This, particularly the tax, is the key thing. Tax bills just went out. They're due the end of this month. So by the end of February, I think we will see if we're going to have a problem or not. And the problem is really twofold. We have a lot of commitments, and if we turn to the page on funding, we have a lot of cash commitments. Ryan, if you could come back one to, yeah, that's the rascal. We have a lot of committed cash already. And as you see, besides the T-bills that we put in place immediately after getting the $12 million, we also have CDs, and we hold some cash in our brokerage account and then in our operating accounts. And overall, we need $1 million in the bank for all that we have committed to already. That includes the entire school project. I don't know if we can reasonably spread that out, but I would assume, just based on looking at that schedule, that we're going to have a preponderance of expenditures in the March and April timeframe. And that will be a concern if the tax revenue does not catch up. In the short term, borrowing from one fund to another will avoid any serious problem. But the tax revenue is critical. Water pumpage for the last 6 months ended in December was up. So the billings now for water revenue going out in January should be higher than last year, and hopefully, therefore, collections will accelerate and be higher than last year. But there are open questions, and I need to just watch this to make sure that we don't mix funds. We keep our funds separate, and we time our expenditures accordingly. Another little problem that arose was in December, Cape and Coastal decided to change their bank statement layout. I got the impression that we all became beta users. There were rather significant problems in the statements itself. There were deficiencies in the layout. The bank is aware of that. I just had a conversation with our bank rep just before the meeting. They are working on it, on all of those aspects. The inaccuracies they will correct immediately. The format, they have to work with this subcontractor that they've engaged to produce the statements. There are workarounds in that I'm developing with the bank so that we can proceed, but as of this moment, I was unable to reconcile December, which gives me a little bit of a problem not having my starting point. When you look at the expenditure side, we're all under budget. When you look at the articles, they are all under budget and really on schedule. But the expenditures for the fire station are going to accelerate substantially. And I think we are fully covered on that. I'll be meeting with the fire department on Thursday to review the T-bill ladder, as we call it, and make sure that that's matching their expenditure schedule. That's really it in sum total. Questions?
Can you go back to page 1?
I'm sorry?
No, we asked to go back to page 1 and we did.
Oh, okay. I show at the bottom there the actual cash deficit through December, which is, in rough speaking, $500,000. Now that's accounted for.
Thank you. If you could, thank you. Cash deficit year to date.
I'm sorry?
We got it. We found it.
Okay. Now that's accounted for by the one-time expenditures that we had in the first half of the year. The retirement contribution, risk insurance, and a few other items were annual fees in the first half of the year. And of course, we're on a cash basis, so we don't amortize those per month. But if you look at those, that really accounted for that $500,000 deficit. And that will turn around as we go into the second half of the year. In other words, we will not have that same level of expenditure in the operating side that we had in the first half of the year.
But we will have the expenditures relating to the demolition of the school.
Yeah, that's probably the one that that's probably the most problematic, because it was funded by tax revenue, and if the tax revenue doesn't catch up, we won't see that surplus to provide for those expenditures. Alternatives are borrowing funds from the capital fund for that project, and we just have to make sure that as we make those lendings from one project to another, that we track those carefully. And also, at the end of the day, we have the stabilization fund to lean on if we have to. I don't expect it will come to that.
When does the next bill go out?
It went out already, and it is due February 1st.
And is that this is the balloon bill, the balloon tax increase for the fire station is on that bill?
I don't think he argued.
Yes, it would be.
With the 50%
because
increase, right?
It would have been part of the appropriation that was added to the tax levy with respect just to the borrowings, though.
Right, because we have that big balloon increase for the fiscal year. So maybe we'll be able to.
Let me back up, Seth. Let me back up.
Yeah.
Let me back up and say that there's no $12 million in our tax levy. The only
just the payment for to get the money, right? That's what it was.
Yeah, that's that. But we have the cash from the loan.
Right, the proceeds of the loan.
Yeah, so we have the proceeds of the loan to fund the construction. The construction we're fully funded on. That's not that would not be the problem.
No, I know what you mean. I was just thinking from a cash flow perspective, if we've got higher bills that went out that are going to start getting paid, then maybe this situation will be able to float it and it won't be a problem.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I do. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, though. Any ideas why this year, as opposed to any other, our tax collection rate is 17% below what we targeted?
Not really. The economy is generally good. People are feeling. I mean, you hear all the stories in the newspapers and on the air. People are feeling the pressure of inflation. They're unhappy, but it's not to the point where I would think it would start impacting tax revenue. It could be that we're just looking at a timing phenomena, and as Seth points out, as these big bills go out and people start paying those big bills, we will catch up. Again, the tax levy is really not phased based on any cash flow experience. It's just a chunk number, one solid number that we measure ourselves against.
right. And there have been years past where we've had anomalous lags in tax collection. I remember, what was it, 2021 maybe? I remember we had a significant one that we asked the same question.
Yeah, it was around COVID, but we had
Yeah.
a
There was
problem.
a random for some reason.
Okay, so the upshot is, Ray, you're gonna keep a close watch on this and alert us if there is any significant developments, negative or positive. We can always, schedule a meeting to discuss if it needs be.
It sounds like we're gonna have enough meetings over the next couple of months that we'll be able to keep track of this as well.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Actually, speaking about that, if Joe's still here. As soon as we can get a expenditure forecast from you folks, that would be very helpful.
So Ray, we have started to put a preliminary budget together. The biggest unknown factor right now is just the general contractor number.
Obviously,
Then I can do a complete cash flow takeoff for the duration of what we're doing and how long we're going to need.
Okay, Joe, if you could look at guesstimate what we're going to be bidding on, and guesstimate how we would incur those expenditures. I realize it's not a commitment. It's a
ballpark. Yep.
You got it.
Yep. I'll put a cash flow together based on that.
Excellent.
It may be a little conservative until we get the real number. That's all.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Ray, I had a quick question based on the cash deficit, and this is, mostly information for myself. You mentioned kind of if it holds, the contingencies would be transferring from other funds and making good note of it, or using the stabilization fund. If that deficit still exists, I'm just curious, what is kind of the mechanism that we or the district would need to take in order to fix the deficit? Is it a special meeting? And I don't even know what it would be.
If it was a significant deficit, you could issue I forget what it's basically a loan based on anticipating tax revenue. So we would anticipate that collecting, if we didn't collect all that the levy by the end of June, you would know that you're going to collect it ultimately. So you would issue a bond based on the anticipation of getting that tax revenue. I don't see it coming to that, but and you would do that at the annual district meeting, and the timing of that would fit very well.
Thank you.
And just to be clear, your view of that is not likely to be necessary.
Exactly.
Anything else for Ray? Hearing nothing, we will move to the next agenda item, which I promised I would throw on occasionally. John, if you don't have anything to report, that's fine.
Thank you for preempting this. I misjudged. So this is regarding the updated website. I drastically misjudged the amount of free time I would have over the holidays as we were traveling for a month, and not as much progress was made as I would hope. But I will commit to in one of the February meetings, if not the official or the last one, the website will be ready to go, and I will also, before then, meet with, I'll communicate and hopefully present the website to both the water department and the fire, the water commissioners and the fire commissioners as well.
Great, thank you. Appreciate your continuing devotion to this, and I'll put it on there when you're more likely to have additional comments for us. The last agenda item was Freedom Hall, which I just put on as a reminder. I think Brian and I can handle this. We're talking about whether we need some kind of new lock on the front door. Proving to be a little more complicated than we thought from an expense-wise, et cetera. But let Ryan and me talk about that and figure out what we want to recommend to people.
Meaning an alternate, like a combination lock or something?
Yeah, that's what we were thinking about. But because it's French doors and they're, it's a little more, it's starting to get expensive. Is that really what we need in any event, or could we just go with rekey it and do a lockbox?
Right.
So Brian will look into some of this stuff, but it's essentially not right.
Sounds good.
So just to hop on that, in addition to that, especially before the next annual district meeting, I think it would behoove us to at least examine the tech of Freedom Hall, including the projector, as it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. It seems to be working great today. The Wi-Fi, and just kind of how we can better facilitate meetings in Freedom Hall. Separate discussion from the lock, but I just wanted to bring that up. And we have time before then.
Okay. Brian, maybe we can ask you to do a preliminary assessment in that regard.
Yeah.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll do an inventory of what we have going on and
What's working and what's not.
and see what alternatives we have available.
Okay.
Ryan, feel free to reach out to me just in terms of, the issues with that projector specifically. It only works with PCs. Some PCs has a tendency to go blank during presentations.
What every speaker loves to have happen. Okay, the last agenda item then is public comment. Again, anyone remote or in the audience? Having heard nothing, we will look for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
It is 6:54 and we are adjourned.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
See you later.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
How was your month vacation?